Well, coming up on First at 5, another day of dueling protests at the University of Florida. WUFT is live ahead of the demonstrations with more on the growing calls to UF officials.
And negotiations continue between Gainesville city leaders and the University of Florida. What happens if the two sides can't come to a new agreement?
Those stories and more coming up. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
For a second straight day, students have started to gather at the University of Florida in anticipation of a pro-Palestine protest. This is First at 5. I'm Jacob Sedesse.
And I'm Caitlyn Schiffer. Let's get right out to WFT's Juan Chaoui, who is live at the Plaza of the Americas, where the crowd is starting to grow.
Pro-Palestine protesters are gathering here at Plaza of the Americas for the second day in a row. UF has become one of many college campuses where student protests are becoming more common following the series of rallies at Columbia University last week. I spoke to one representative from the UF Divest Coalition who didn't want to give her name, but mentioned that their goal is to get UF to divest from companies supporting the war effort.
We want to end UF's complicity in the ongoing genocide, in the occupation of the West Bank. And so we are here to show the campus that the students are united against this cause.
The representative also mentions they want UF to disclose its investment portfolio and gather support from more students for their cause. The rally is set to start tonight at 6:30 p.m. and the representative expects a big turnout. Live from Plaza of the Americas, Juan Chaoui, WUFT News.
Also happening right now, a pro-Palestinian demonstration at UCLA. This is a live look at the protests. Demonstrators say they have created a solidarity encampment with USC just one day after dozens were arrested. The protest was also set up by leaders of the UCLA chapter of the Students for Justice in Palestine.
The battle for the budget of RTS rages on. Commissioner Casey Willits took questions from the community and predicted what the future of the bus system could look like at a virtual town hall meeting last night. WUFT's Juan Chaoui filed this report earlier today and spoke with the mayor and a representative from UF about their concerns for the system.
The town hall meeting started with a presentation showing potential changes to bus routes, changes such as reduced service and elimination of buses across the system. Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward says it was just about a month ago when UF told the city it was reducing its contributions.
In early March of this year, we received a communication from UF that indicated they wanted to go from funding about half of the system to funding about a quarter of the system.
Executive Chief of Staff Andrew Persons mentions the city cannot cover the costs UF was funding all this time.
There's not a scenario by which the city is able to float the costs of running the transit services that were being provided to UF without UF's funding and participation in it.
He's also concerned about losing their federal grants, meaning even more money taken away from the budget.
Eliminating these routes or reducing service would have a negative impact on our overall ridership levels from a system perspective, almost $9 million of grant funding. Many of those grants are dependent on ridership.
On the other side of the negotiating table, UF Associate Vice President of Communications Steve Orlando says the university is just looking out for its students.
We need to see their cost data. We need to sit down with them, look at it, and make sure that our students are not bearing the brunt of the costs for RTS.
Despite this, students like Julia Knives are worried they won't be able to afford other means of transportation.
Having a car is way too expensive. Parking around campus is a nightmare anyways.
The outcome of this battle for the budget is uncertain as negotiations are still going on between the university and the city.
WFT's Juan Chaoui reporting. Mayor Harvey Ward said the current RTS contract is set to expire on June 30th without penalty or without renewal, University officials say that they're opting for a month-to-month contract starting July 1st. UF students are taking a stand to stop that proposed budget cut to RTS. Leaders of organizations such as UF Democratic Socialists of America and the Change Party are planning a protest. City officials are estimating drivers will need 8,000 more car rides a day to replace those bus trips. They say the cuts will also result in the loss of 52 RTS staff positions. They're set to gather at Tigert Hall tomorrow from noon to 2 p.m.
Deputies are investigating a shooting in Gainesville that sent one person to the hospital. They say that they responded to a call of a person shot near Tower Oaks Glen Apartments on Southwest 21st Lane. They arrived to find a victim with a gunshot wound. They took care of him and sent him to the nearest hospital, and deputies say they hope community members with information will come forward by contacting them through Crime Stoppers. And 3 men in Marion County are behind bars after a string of car break-ins going back to February. Deputies arrested 45-year-old Warren Cavagnaro, 42-year-old Kyle Thompson, and 58-year-old Michael Madigan this morning of charges of burglary and grand theft auto. They say they've broken into more than 40 cars, stealing at least 9 guns, and they're still investigating more burglaries they could have ties to.
State officials are preparing a ceremony to honor the late Bob Graham. Military and state law enforcement officers will lay the former senator and governor to rest tomorrow at the Capitol. They'll escort him through the rotunda at 11 a.m. for an opportunity for Floridians to pay their respects. They'll take him to a private burial for family members only after 1 p.m. He died at a retirement community in Gainesville last week. Family members are asking those hoping to send a gift to instead donate to UF's Bob Graham Center.
It's been pretty warm these past few days, but will the Sunshine State stay sunny? WFT's Matthew Clark joins us now for how long the sunshine will stick around.
Yeah, as long as this dominant area of high pressure sticks around, we are going to see those sunny and warm conditions. Now, this high pressure system dictates the warm and dry air, and it is also a part of what dictates the summer season here in Florida. And just looking at the campus cam, it's really what you can see for most parts when a high pressure system is overhead. Sunshine across our campus cam, making for a beautiful Thursday night. It is a little bit warm outside right now, 86 in Gainesville, 86 in High Springs, and 82 down in Cross City. And now we are seeing a little bit cooler temperatures for the most part this time around this week, but last week we were seeing upper 80s and lower 90s. Now when you're waking up on your Friday morning, it's going to be a cool start to your morning, 58 in Gainesville and 59 over in Brunson.
A teenager is among 2 dead after a fiery crash in Marion County. FHP troopers say the driver of a van was traveling southbound on I-75 just before 10:30 Wednesday morning. The driver cut off a semi in the outside lane and veered off the roadway. The van hit several trees before bursting into flames. The 15-year-old and 49-year-old in the van are dead. A 1- and 2-year-old in the same van survived, and the driver of the semi is facing minor injuries.
Attorney General Ashley Moody is warning Floridians about the dangers of opioids, and she's asking neighbors to properly dispose of old and unwanted medications. She paid a visit to West Palm Beach just ahead of this weekend's 26th National Drug Take-Back Day. DA officials hold the event twice a year to make it easy to safely get rid of unused and expired medications. Moody is urging Floridians to take part in the event as opioid use rises.
In the last yearly total that we have, we now lose over 110,000 to overdose in the United States of America. That is more deaths as a result of drug overdose in a country than any other country in the world.
DEA officers collected about 600,000 pounds of drugs during the Take-Back Day in October. They say more than 20,000 of those pounds come from Florida alone. If you have any old prescriptions you'd like to get rid of, we have a list of locations participating across North Central Florida on our website, and that's WUFT.org.
Leaders of 2 local organizations are partnering up to help improve the lives of Gainesville residents. WFT's Sofia Mendez is live in the studio to tell us how volunteers for one of the nonprofits are taking things a step further.
With a purpose to help women and their families, I had the chance to talk to Elder Belinda, founder of Women Working with Women, who was inspired by her own story to create an organization where she strives to grow low-resource communities.
We just do the little bit that we can do to make that difference.
Enhancing the quality of local women's lives, that was the main goal of Elder Belinda Smith when she started the nonprofit Women Working with Women. It aims to support women and their families by transforming their quality of life both personally and professionally. Not only does the nonprofit help previously incarcerated women get back on their feet, but Smith also works to heal their mental health too.
Because this world will crush you and step on you and make you feel less than because you don't look like the average woman they want you to look like.
This initiative was born from a personal experience. Smith's mom spent time in prison. She died in 2021.
Even though my mom is out of the picture, she's still in my heart. She's still in my heart. And it's because of her that I do what I do.
In an effort to combat food insecurity in the Gainesville area, the organization partners with FarmShare to distribute essential food items to families in need.
That's what I have looking forward to, changing the dynamics of women behind bars and working with women in the community of different cultures in leadership that have the power to help all of us make a difference.
The nonprofit has teamed up with FarmShare, Florida's largest food bank, for free food distribution later this week. It's happening Saturday, April 27th, starting at 9 a.m. at the Gainesville Regional Airport. Live in the studio, Sofia Mendez, WUFT News.
A car show in Alachua left locals amazed at hundreds of classic cars.
We'll tell you how one couple's car dreams became a reality, but that's when First at 5 returns. Stick around.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Exotic and antique cars were on display at a local car show, and a man's dream to compete finally came true. WFT's Victor San Martin Diaz is live in the studio to tell us what he had to overcome to make that dream a reality.
The vintage picture behind me showcases Ken Tenney's beloved 1955 Chevy Bel Air, a car that helped him through some of life's toughest battles and more recently gave him a special moment he's waited years for.
The biannual D&S Classic Car Show features over 100 cars. Despite the shiny new chrome and the fresh paint, every car has a unique story underneath the hood. And one contestant's story goes back decades.
I started dating Marilyn at 16 in that car. We used to go to the A&W root beer stand, and I used to buy a root beer float. And I just said, you know, when I get to where I can do it, I'm going to get another 55 Chevy and get another root beer float.
Ken and Marilyn Tenney were high school sweethearts, and the 1955 Chevy has been part of their lives throughout their 34-year marriage.
It's been a dream of his that we could even be here. It's been kind of overwhelming because we've been through a lot.
Marilyn says Ken always dreamed of entering his car in a local car show. But right before he could make that dream happen, Ken was diagnosed with nasopharyngeal carcinoma, a type of head and neck cancer.
I wasn't supposed to live. All the doctors said that I'm a walking miracle. I just thank my wife for taking such good care of me. I told her when I got married, I got a lifelong friend and a lover and a lifetime driving instructor.
He needed surgery and chemotherapy, which put his dream of showing off his prized car on hold. But fast forward 2 years later,
and the award for the best of show today is vehicle number 154, Ken and Marilyn Tenney.
And that dream became a reality over the weekend.
We had everybody really helping us to get to this moment.
Yeah, our kids helped a tremendous amount. We couldn't have done it without them.
One more win for the Tenney family, and one more obstacle that 1955 Chevy helped them overcome.
The Almighty still wants me here. Got something else for me to do before I pass. That's what I think anyway.
Ken and Marilyn hope to take out the Chevy for another root beer float once Ken fully recovers. But for now, they can enjoy their win as best of show. Live in the newsroom, Victor San Martin Diaz, WUFT News.
Crews are still working on a stretch of I-75 in Ocala that's causing a headache for drivers. Transportation officials closed the 2 outside lanes near the road 200 yesterday for what they called emergency asphalt repairs. This is a live look at traffic flowing smoothly on that stretch of the highway from our DOT camera. They've since reopened the on-ramp that was closed, but expect to keep working on the highway overnight and through tomorrow morning. If you expect to pass the area, make sure you're careful of workers in closed lanes.
Alachua County school leaders are honoring a Rawlings Elementary School employee. Samantha Lopez works one-on-one with a special needs 5th grader, and she's this year's Alachua County School-Related Employee of the Year. School board officials are recognizing her for her advocacy for special needs students, as well as her kindness and dedication to her school. They're holding a celebration for Lopez on Tuesday at 4 p.m. at Trinity United Methodist Church.
We're seeing a slight cool down as we head into the weekend. However, we could be seeing 90s by the end of next week. I'll have that and more coming up.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Got a beautiful Thursday evening. As we can look over our campus cam right now, you can see those sunshine skies in the background, 82 degrees right now, and we are feeling a little bit warm, and that is driven by this high pressure system that is sitting right off the coast of Pensacola. Now, as long as that's there, we're going to be seeing those warm and sunny skies. I also see a cold front in South Georgia right now. However, as we head into the later part of Thursday night, that cold front is going to start to stall. Now, that high pressure system is still there, so we are still going to be sunny and humid for the most part. However, we're not going to be getting that much cold air as it starts to stall. We're getting into that part of the year where they start to stall further north and further north as we head along. Now, Saturday and Sunday, you can see a slight cool down. 82 as our high on Saturday and 85 as our high on Sunday. Going to make for a perfect weekend to go outside, go to the beach. Now, looking at our temperatures right now, though, you can see 86 in Gainesville, 84 up in Stark, and 82 over in Lake City. Now, we are a little cooler than we were this time last week. We were seeing upper 80s and lower 90s. Now, as we head into the hour by hour, you can see temperatures going to drop down into the lower lower 60s as we head early into Friday morning. It's going to be kind of a cool, muggy Friday morning, not necessarily going to be cool or dry. And you can just see, looking at that muggy meter, it's not really too much of a roller coaster. We get a little bit of a peak on Sunday, 62 degrees as our dew point on Sunday, which is just a measure of the moisture in the atmosphere. So we are going to be feeling pretty muggy on our Sunday. Going to taper off into the upper 50s, but just relatively consistently muggy. Now, good news is we are seeing low pollen forecasts today and Friday, so a little bit of break there, less suffocating from the pollen. However, on Saturday, when those winds start to change into a southerly component wind, we're going to start to see high pollen again. And as we head into parts of next week, it's going to get to very high. So we're going to want to make sure we're taking that allergy medication if we're going outside. Now, just looking at the 7-day, you can see we get a little bit of a cool down on our Saturday and Sunday, 83 as the highs on both days. However, as we head into parts of next week, we start to slowly ramp up as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, seeing 92 on Thursday and a low of 66.
Coming up in sports, college football players will have their lives changed tonight, and Florida brings 2 prospects to the draft board. And Florida just can't seem to shake it off against FSU on the Diamond. We'll break down the Gators' softball meltdown on defense and much more coming up when we return.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome into sports. I'm Jesse Simmons. Today is the day that the life of 32 athletes will change forever, as the 2024 NFL Draft is finally here. 2 Florida Gator prospects have left their mark on Saturdays in the Swamp and look to continue that on Sundays. Center Kingsley Ngwakin brings thorough technique in the trenches, though he made 4 starts in 2023 due to injury. Receiver Ricky Pearsall brings poetic route running and jaw-dropping catches. Pearsall is confident in himself to succeed with any NFL team he goes to.
I think that's like the main thing, and I'm a consistent worker, consistent person off the field, along with all my explosive things that I got to show at the combine, but just that I'm a competitor too at the end of the day. I mean, I feel like a lot of teams want competitors, and that's what football is. So.
The first round of the draft kicks off in Detroit, Michigan tonight at 8 o'clock with the Chicago Bears owning the #1 overall pick. Looking at men's golf, round 2 of the SEC Championships at Sea Island Golf Club in Georgia has just finished up. And here's a look at the individual leaderboard with Auburn's Jackson Coven leading the group at 8 under, followed by Jack Turner from Florida on his heels at 6 under, shooting a 65 today. And Alabama's Thomas Ponder shares a 5-way tie for 3rd. The Gators are sitting pretty in 2nd place, heading into the last day of stroke play. If they remain in the top 8, the Gators will begin match play on Saturday. Switching over to softball, the 12th-ranked Gators packed their home stadium on Swifty night against number 16 Florida State. But the orange and blue caught some bad blood against the Seminoles. After a tight 2-0 game, FSU stormed back at the top of the 5th inning. Capitalizing on 3 fielding errors by the Gators, Florida State turned the opportunity to 12 runs on 8 hits, including a pair of home runs. After a 40-minute inning, the Gators attempted a comeback, scratching a run across to complete a meltdown on defense that resulted in a 12-3 run rule. Florida moves to 31-11, while FSU improves to 37-10. The Gators look to shake it off on the road against SEC rival Georgia in Athens this weekend. And one final note, the Tampa Bay Rays have announced their City Connect jerseys to be revealed on April 29th. But until then, we have another interesting reveal from our very own Jacob Sedesse.
Jesse, I'm sweating. This is a day I've been nervous about for a long time. A little over 2 years ago, I made my debut here at WFT on NPR. And now, 4 semesters later, I've been an anchor here at First at 5. But today's show is my last. I've been so grateful for all the opportunities, and what we have here is special, but it's even more special because Gainesville is my hometown, and I grew up in the UF community. And I just thank all my neighbors and everyone who I've seen out in public who has showed their appreciation or, said that they enjoyed my newscast. It's been really special for me to serve all of you and do what we do. And
Your mark has been left for sure.
Thank you so much. And, you'll see me around for a little while. I can't thank enough people. I have to thank Kalisha for believing in me, Mark for putting me on air, Alicia for making me so great, and of course my mentors, Paige, Dave, and Myra. But that's it for me. So, Matt, I got to throw it over to you for weather.
Yeah, we can see a little bit of a cool down as we head into Saturday and Sunday with highs just reaching in the low 80s. However, as we start the week next week, we can see it slowly start to ramp up, and we see the dreaded 90s as we head into Thursday next week.
Well, thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
Not us, though. Your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and on all our social media platforms. Take care. I'll see you around.